Yo, what is going on, guys? Pothead here, and today we're coming in for another episode of the Opiate Odyssey. First, I'm obliged to say this. Follow me on Instagram at Pothead. Buy some clothes from me on my website, hopelessdomore.org, and subscribe and turn notifications on for YouTube. Sorry again for the lateness on this video. Just been super, I don't know, man. Life's been getting to me, but I'm going to try and I didn't realize how many people watch my YouTube who don't know me off Instagram and shit, because I see you guys all in my DMs all the time. So I gotta do this more often because it seems to be working. So anyways, so this is at the point where Cinto, Willie, and I have been together for just way too long. We're fighting, we're disagreeing over little shit. We've been together every day for like literally 2 years at this point. So all in all, we needed a break from each other. But we didn't want to say this or anything because we all thought like, you know, the vibe was to be together all the time, but it's, you know, so we were just too, like, I don't know, caught up in our pride, I guess. Eventually, I get introduced to this guy called Mark. He has a super nice rig, and he smokes good hash, and I needed a hash plug. So I start kicking it with him, and eventually I figure out he does opiates as well. So he starts paying my tax, and I start serving him, and one night, I brought Cinto and Willie over to serve him, and we had a lit night. We did some 30s, we smoked probably like an eighth of GMO rosin that night. It was crazy. We were just chopping it up. We were really liking my boy, especially Cinto. He was fucking with him. And eventually, we kept coming back, and his character, to me, wasn't as strong as I had thought. He had a very, like, small personality, and I hate when you have to be the person who, like, controls the vibe and, like, you know, comes up with all the conversation and shit and, like, give your personality to someone else instead of it being, like, a kind of back and forth, if that makes sense. So I start going there less and less, but Willie and Cinto start going there more and more. And it doesn't take long for me to hear from Willie that Cinto and Mark were talking about me behind my back. I'm super used to this shit, but I still don't like it because literally every friend group I've ever been in ended up doing this shit. And it's so petty, but whatever. So I confronted Cinto, and he told me it was Willie who was talking shit behind my back. So now we're all mad at each other, and this is all kind of coming to a peak at this one night. So this day started out like any other. We were doing our thing. I was serving. We were, you know, just doing our little 9 to 5 shit. And we meet up around 4:30 to get some food. We can't for the life of us find a restaurant that has an open reservation because I think it was like Friday or some shit. So eventually, after being in my room for so long, calling around to like everywhere, we just fucking YOLO it to a steakhouse that's like 20 minutes away that's usually pretty empty and pretty good food. So we get there, and we were high as fuck. We were on empty stomach, which means one thing: irrational and irritable. So we go into the restaurant, and they say there won't be a table to seat 3 for 15 minutes. And I'm furious with this news. I turn around and tell Willie and Cinto, I'm like, this is so fucking annoying. I'm so hungry. Like, I gotta go eat. I just push out of the restaurant, and they're following me. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Because I didn't really care, because I was like, fuck all you guys. Like, I'm going to just go across the street and get the sandwich and just eat that, because there's a sandwich shop right across the street. So Willie and Cinto follow me. They decide to go to a taco spot, and I'm like, yeah, of course they would do that in my head. Because I'm not thinking rationally. I'm taking everything to heart, which one piece of advice I learned from this: nothing is that serious. Don't take everything to heart, because eventually you're going to be the one who ends up getting hurt regardless. So anyway, I ate my sandwich. And I finish my shit way before their tacos come. So I go over and I eat with them. And while we're eating, Willie gets invited to a party. But I also have a serve at the same party too. So it's good for all of us. We get to the apartment where the party was. And I should preference this with saying the owner of the apartment, we'll call him Adam, was Willie's friend and not mine. But I didn't think much of it. I should have, though. So Willie goes in by himself. I don't know why we let him, but he did. And Cinto and I are just in the car waiting. We wait for literally 2 hours. And eventually we're just spam calling Willie. And he finally picks up, but it's Adam. And he says Willie's in the party, and he's lit as fuck, doing coke, drinking. And we're like, what the fuck? Willie doesn't do any of that shit. But can we come in? And he's like, nah. And I'm like, bro, do you want these blues or anything? He's like, I don't know. And, Like I can't let you come in unless you have girls. And Cinto's like, all right, for sure, asshole, and just hung up on him. And I asked Cinto what we should do, and he's like, we should try Willie again in 5, but let's get higher. I agreed. We got out of the car. We hit the 7-Eleven across the street. We got cream sodas, and we each dropped a 30 and a whole Zan in our soda. Each. So that was way too much for what we had already done that night. We go back to Willie's car where literally all of his shit was besides his phone. So I had no idea what was going on. I still don't really know too much because this is right where my recollection gets really spotty. So I'll just try and fill you guys in where I remember. So eventually we do get a hold of Willie on his phone, but he's like super belligerent and just like so fucked up that he's just saying, you know, what's on his mind. He's like, fuck you guys, like I'm so done with this shit, like you don't, like blah 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 blah. And we're like, bro, like can you get, like what are we supposed to do? Like you have your keys, like we can't go anywhere, like what do you want us to do? And he's like about to tell us what he wants, and then boom, his phone dies is what he said. I still don't know, but so we're like, what the fuck? Like, what do we do? So Cinto and I are just walking around on this place called The Hill. It's across from the college. And there's it's not really like a music venue, but it is. Like, there are shows there, but you can also like rent it out if you're like a college fraternity or whatever. And it turns out that the people from the apartment had migrated over through the back door, so we didn't see them, into this fucking venue, and they were all partying in there. And they were playing like dubstep and house music and just shit that Willie hates. But I guess he was so desperate to get away from us that he would have done anything. But we didn't even know this at this time. We were just walking around just like fucking doing nothing, just getting higher and higher, and we're both just talking to each other. I'm telling Cinto how much I'm sick of this shit, like how done I am with this bullshit, and he's like agreeing with me and blah blah blah. You know, I'm so high. And at this point, like, we literally have been here, it's probably almost midnight right now, and we can't get a hold of Willie. We don't know what to do, and we're just like texting him like, yo, lock the car, we're going home, I guess. And I call an Uber, and it takes me and Cinto back to my house, and I'm just so furious, bro. And like at this point, we had all pretty much been living out of my house because Cinto had some housing difficulties, and Willie had some housing difficulties. So there was some of Willie's shit there. I asked Cinto for 2 more Xans. I popped both of these Xans, so I was off 3 Xans. I hadn't done Xans in like 2 years at this point. So you know how blacked the fuck out I was off 3 whole Xans at this point? Like, shit's not even funny. So I was just like going around like hiding any of Willie's like objects that he owned that were in my house, and like, bro, that shit was fucked up. But anyways, I don't hear anything from Willie until like 7 in the morning the next day, when he still hadn't slept, and he was like just like it was like spam calling me and Cinto. So I woke up out of my like fucking coma pretty much, and I was like, hello? And he's like, yo, like, my bad, I can't apologize for this though, because like, you know, it's mostly your fault. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, it's your fault, like I wouldn't have done that if you guys weren't such assholes. And I'm like, alright, shut the fuck up, because I'm about to fucking go crazy on your ass right now. Like, I was so pissed off, bro, and we both said some shit that we really didn't want to say, but that is for the next episode. We are about to end off this series. I think probably only 1 or 2 more episodes left. Please leave me comments below on what you guys want to see. Either stories, vlogs, whatever. I need video ideas. I'm trying to come at this YouTube shit with my fucking whole body. So, yep. Let me know, guys. Thank you.